Davidson t-shirt. This is a 3D emblem tag. And the sleeves are cut on it. It's very distressed. Polo Country by Ralph Lauren. This one's pretty crazy. Here is a vintage canvas straight jacket. This guy has the best stuff ever. Alright guys, so I hope you've been enjoying the videos. Today we're going to an estate sale down the street. My friend's having a sale. He's selling his collection, his lifetime collection of antiques, art, and vintage clothing. He was the creative director, or one of the creative directors at Tommy Hilfiger in the early 2000s, in the late 90s, I think. And I think he also worked with Ralph Lauren in the 90s as well. This guy has the best vintage clothing I've ever seen, and he has it in troves. So for his job, he would go to antique fairs, he would go to vintage clothing stores, he would go to thrift stores, he would go to antique malls, and he would go looking for vintage clothing as inspiration for his new designs at Tommy Hilfiger. So he has a lot of really rare items, and the guy's a designer, so he has a really good eye for design. So we're gonna go to his sale, and we're gonna see what we can find. Hopefully we find some gems.
The stripes are great, right? I wish I would put in your face. Yeah, right.
where we're at the sale right now. We got a lot of stuff. This guy has the best stuff ever.
I'll take it. I made something brand wrap. But I don't know. Did you buy her?
I did, yeah.
Is she amazing?
It just reminds me of her.
I know. It's so beautiful.
Thank you so much. We'll be back tomorrow.
All right, I love it. I'll get some of that stuff.
Okay, see you later. All right, so we just got all this. Entire car is filled. Got this oil painting. We're gonna go home and I'll show you what we found. Okay, we just left the estate sale. I showed you guys. They're really good. The car's full. And I'm gonna lay a tarp out and I'm gonna show you guys what I found. First up, this is Rugby Ralph Lauren. Rugby was a line from Ralph Lauren, and they did a lot of vintage inspired designs with the buckle back. This is Ralph Lauren. They're sort of Hawaiian style pants, but these are Ralph Lauren Purple Label, which is the highest end label that Ralph Lauren produces. Here is a Harley Davidson t-shirt, and it is bedazzled. Dave Gardner. So I don't know if it's going to show up, but this is a 3D emblem tag, Harley Davidson. Nothing on the back. Here is a basic Russell Athletic t-shirt. Here is a 60s or 70s Washington football t-shirt. Let's see what tag it's on. It's on a Velveteen tag, which is still a company today. They still make t-shirts. This is a good one. This is a football jersey, and it's a Doreen material, which is a rayon, or it's nylon mixed with cotton, but this is an old football jersey. It has really good fading on it. There's no tag up here, so it doesn't have any tags on it. This is a 1960s loop collar plaid shirt by Manhattan. This is a 1970s Big Mac chambray shirt. Big Mac was a company made by JCPenney, and the collector market for Big Mac is very, very strong. They make a lot of work clothing, jackets, jeans, chambray shirts. They did flannel, stuff like that. Here's just a vintage t-shirt, the good graphic from the 1980s. Here is a polo Ralph Lauren Henley, and it's modeled after the shirts from the 20s, 30s, and 40s military style. It's a tag. These are vintage Levi's 501, and these are, I think, an early LVC line, but if you look at the back, it has the big E, but these are from the 90s. Here's another tag. Here we have some more Levi's. These are LVC, and if you look here, I'll show you. Nice color to them. They are salvage. And if you look at the back tab, these are model 503B. These are vintage polo Ralph Lauren plaid trousers. These are super cool. They need a cleaning, but there's the tag. Back side. Here we got some vintage polo Ralph Lauren, similar to the chinos I'm wearing right now. They're paint splattered. The tag. Back side. Here we have a 1930s banded collar dress shirt, and it has a pullover and has the gusset. This is a 1940s probably headlight work shirt. It's almost like a moleskin material. Has some distressing and mismatched buttons. It has the gusset. This is a great atmosphere. Here's just some basic polo Ralph Lauren, but they're distressed, new with tags. White jeans. Here are some 1950s or 1960s US Army chino pants. Here is a polo Ralph Lauren cotton chin strap flannel shirt with the red, white, and blue colorway. Here we have a 90s polo Ralph Lauren chambray shirt, and it's the big dress shirt, so it's an oversized fit. Here is a 1940s button-up shirt. Good tag on there. It has the gussets on the side. This was pretty cool. This is a 70s DC Western shirt. And it has pearl snaps and embroidery. This is a 1950s button-up shirt. It has someone's monogram on the pocket. It has the gussets. This one's really cool. So this is a Gitman Brothers shirt, Oxford shirt, but it has all over it. It has all the Gitman tags. I'm not sure if this is a product they produce or if this is a made by somebody. Here is a vintage workwear jacket and has a cropped fit to it. Here's the tag. So here is a Levi's chambray shirt from the 70s. Has the orange tab. And it has a big E on there. So this is probably from the early 70s. It has a screen printed Earth First. Here is a vintage US Navy chambray shirt. Has the stencil on the sleeve. This one's pretty crazy. I don't know, I think it's a straight jacket. Now that I see how long the sleeves are. So here is a vintage canvas straight jacket, and whoever was being held up would have been put in this, and then these sleeves would have been wrapped around their body to hold them from doing anything. Let's see. There's no tag. Super crazy. Alright, here we go. We got some more t-shirts. The Ships, Westport, Connecticut. 1980s. Here is a Russian military striped tank top. It's called a Telyashka, but this is Russian military. Here is a vintage polo Ralph Lauren ribbed striped long sleeve sweater shirt. This is a double RL. The tag's cut, but it's made in USA and it's a ribbed t-shirt. Here's a 1970s or 80s Ocean Pacific surf t-shirt. Here we have a brown university, some sort of athletic t-shirt. It has the Blue Bar Champion tag from the 70s. With a stripe along the cut and sew. Here's just a thrashed out polo, very lightweight t-shirt from and it has fading and distressing. Nowhere else but Baltimore. Ringer t-shirt, 70s, 80s. Here is a West Point U.S. Military Academy t-shirt. This one's from the 90s. This is an Ohio State University athletics t-shirt, and it's on a 1980s champion tag. Here is a Blackbirds baseball t-shirt. I'm not exactly sure what team that is. LIU. I'm guessing it's a university. Russell Athletic, made in USA. Here is a vintage 90s or early 2000s Gap striped t-shirt. Here is a 1978 Garfield Chicago t-shirt. Here's the tag. It's on the velvet sheen. Here's a cool one. This is a 90s polo athletic tank top, and it has the felted letters on the front. Here is a Cowboys NFL training camp t-shirt. It is on a 70s champion tag. Here's another Doreen football jersey. This one is champion from the 70s. This is a 1960s Henley t-shirt. Has raglan sleeves. Made by Robert Bruce. Here is a Levi's vintage clothing t-shirt, and this is the Levi's line where they reproduce vintage clothing. And this is modeled after a shirt from the 30s probably. Santa Cruz Surfing Club. Here is another football t-shirt from Queens College. Or no, it's a lacrosse t-shirt. Here's a tag. Here's a Ralph Lauren shirt. It is a Henley with a floral print, and it is 55% hemp. Here's a good one. This is a vintage Earth, Wind & Fire t-shirt, and it is original. 1979 World Tour. Here is a 1970s Harley Davidson t-shirt, but it's been cut into a tank top. On the back it has the store that originally sold it. This is from the 1970s. Here is a Burberry Novacek tank top. Here is a Capital, which is a Japanese company, Henley t-shirt. Here is a 1970s or 80s Boy Scout t-shirt.
Oh, he's gonna take a nap in this box.
Alright, it's the next day. The bugs were killing us last night, so we're inside now, and I'm going to show you the rest of the haul. Here we have some vintage Polo Ralph Lauren linen cargo pants. If you look, it has that late 80s, early 90s tag. There's the back. This is a 1970s zip-up sweatshirt from Wisconsin. Here is another vintage sweatshirt. This one is from the 50s or the 60s, and it is a zip-up. It's 100% cotton, and the sleeves are cut on it, and it's very distressed. Here's the zipper. Nice fade color to it. There's what the pile looks like. Here's another 50s or 60s sweatshirt. It's a zip up. It says, "I'm a little tax exemption," which is a joke about having kids. Here's the zipper. Show these as well. This is a Polo Country by Ralph Lauren. It is a wool cotton blend, sort of southwestern blanket chore jacket. And then I also have over here another Polo Country Ralph Lauren. And this one is sort of a Mexican blanket style wool cotton blend. And then I also got a couple blankets. So both of these blankets are Ralph Lauren. Show you the tag, made in Switzerland. This one has a scour on it. Needs a good cleaning. And then I have another Ralph Lauren blanket, and this one also has a southwestern print on it. Let me find that tag. This one is actually new with tags. Made in USA. Here's a 60s bomber sportwear jacket. The ringer cuffs. This is a Barracuda jacket. So this is a 1960s. It's a Lee Chitopa work jacket. The zipper. It has all this patchwork on it. Just different activities. Here is a 1950s windbreaker jacket. It's made by King Cole. And it is flannel lined. Has a talon zipper. Here is a 1960s cable knit tennis sweater. It's 100% virgin worsted wool by Forum Sportswear. Here is a 1970s probably, sort of patchwork wool sweater like Klansman. Scottish Shetland wool. Here we have a vintage Polo Ralph Lauren cable knit sweater. And it has sort of the ringer on the bottom, and it is hand knit silk and cotton. Here we have another Polo Ralph Lauren sweater. This one is from the 90s. Doesn't have the contents, but it feels like maybe a wool cashmere blend. Has a hole right there, but that will get repaired before it gets listed. Here we have another 1950s or 60s sweatshirt from Camp Allegheny. Don't know what that is. Has the nice thick ribbing on the bottom. And here's the pile on the inside. Here is a Denim & Supply Ralph Lauren sort of sportswear sweatshirt with the old distressed numbers on it. Sort of like a football jersey. Here we have a 1980s Champion reverse weave crew neck sweatshirt from Hotchkiss. Alright, here we got a vintage bootleg Gucci sweatshirt. Has the Gucci logo, but it is printed on a Fruit of the Loom tag from the 80s or 90s. Have another fake Gucci right here. These sell really well. People like this bootleg stuff. Here we have a Polo Ralph Lauren, looks like one of these whales, Cowichan sweater. There's the tag, it is cotton linen. And it has the nautical anchor on the back. Here we have another Cowichan sweater. This one is hand knit in the 1950s, and it has bison on it. Here's a zipper, has a bell zipper on it, lightning. Nice zipper. Let's see, it has a patch on the sleeve. Club Champs, 1956-57. But it's very, very heavy knit wool. Here we have another 1970s sweatshirt, and it's pretty basic. It's polyester cotton blend. Here we have another cotton windbreaker jacket in that colorful plaid. This is from the 50s or the 60s. Here we have a plaid hooded windbreaker jacket by Comme des Garçons. It's polyester, patchwork, has a pocket on the back. Here is a 1940s or 50s wool Letterman sweater, and it has a chenille patch on it with the wrestlers. And there's the label. Nice heavy knit wool. So this is a European military pullover shirt. I'm not exactly sure what country it's from, but it is a cotton and it has these ties on the front placket. This one's pretty special. This is a double RL Ralph Lauren wool cape, and it has a print all over it of Native American imagery. Here's the tag, made in Scotland, and it just has this very cool Native American motif all around it. It's very, very big. And it has these leather ties. Here is a pair of rugby Ralph Lauren camo cargo shorts. And it has ducks and rifles embroidered on it. There's the back side. We got a couple accessories. This is a 90s Polo Ralph Lauren flag beanie. Here's the label. This one's made in USA. And then to go along with that, I have a flag scarf. Here's the white robe, but this one actually is dead stock. And this one is made in Hong Kong. Here we have a double RL wool beret. Here is another one. This one's pretty cool. This sort of has the same imagery as the cape I just showed you. This is a Ralph Lauren wool scarf. And here is the tag. Older tag, made in Scotland. So yeah, thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe. I'm gonna have more stuff to show you. Hope you enjoy. Thanks. Bye-bye.